disclaimer, before we get into things, I would just like to ask, and I know that this is kind of beggy, but if you like this video, and if you think I made some decent points, why not share it? And see if anybody else agrees with me, because I think this is, I feel like I've uncovered some kind of conspiracy. Like I've fallen down this wormhole. The Digimon Persona wormhole is a lot deeper than I ever anticipated that it would be. Okay? Now, I've got facts and evidence to back this up, but let's get into the plot real quick. I gotta intro this video. Mumble grumble.
What's all this mucking? Oh, you look bloody horrible.
Hey doctor, and hey everyone else. Sorry you had to see that. I got this harshly worded letter from the 90s Reboot Club. Can you believe they turned me down on my pitch for a modern era reimagining of myself? Something about brand power, or whatever that means.
Oh, a reboot? What, are you out of original ideas already?
Oh, you see, doctor, for so long I've just always been compared to my contemporaries. And that never made sense to me because for such a long time I stopped trying to be like them. And I grew my own identity in myself. But nobody ever took the time to actually get to know me. But I'm mature now. I do my own dishes, I set my own bedtimes, I break my own bedtimes, and I take responsibility for that the next day. So I wish I had something more substantial in my life, you know? I'm not a kid anymore.
Oh, grow up, mate, come on. You're projecting a little bit, aren't you? Here's an idea. Why not help me get out of here, you know?
Grow up? Grow up, like...
Are you listening?
Evolve.
No. Oi. Oi.
There might be something
Oi.
So let's play a game. Tell me one series where kids and teens fight monsters and they get stronger in battle just by hanging out and like eating food together and just being best friends and unpacking each other's trauma, both past and recent, to help each other overcome their character arcs. Yeah, that does kind of sound like Digimon, doesn't it? Look, it's obvious. Digimon has always had this Pokemon syndrome, let's call it, when it first came out especially. Dumb kids, talking monsters, bright colors, looks like Pokemon to me. But Digimon's a kid's show, right? It doesn't go into dark themes with realistic and mature emotional storytelling. These kids aren't going through real world trauma. This isn't Persona, is it? Now I gotta mention, this isn't a Pokemon is better, Digimon is better, Persona is better kind of video. This is definitely more of a compare and a contrast, not evaluation, right? I'm not saying one is better than the other, but I do want to note which similarities they do have. So, let's do a check. Mature, dark stories? Well, yes, they got some. Emphasis on genuine friendship and learning about yourself through others? Well, Pokemon is more of a servant-master relationship, so I wouldn't really call that friendship necessarily. But yeah, I'd say Digimon tamers are friends, and Persona users are friends with each other. Settings flipping between real world and monster world. Well, no, Pokemon takes place in the Pokemon world, but Digimon and Persona both have a real modern-day Japan setting, and they go into their TV worlds or towers at night, or
Digimon also has its real world and digital world separate but connected too.
Alright. Well, what about PlayStation Love? Oh, they got that too? Not being able to cash in on being Pokemon and actually having to try new formats entirely and listening to fan feedback to make a good game and product? Look, you know where this is going.
Now at first, you might think that I'm just grasping for straws, that there's no real basis to my argument of similarity between these two. But there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than you might think, specifically with anime adaptations. So let's do some digging around between different animation projects to see if we can find any links. and I will be getting all of my information from the bastion of news known as Anime News Network.
So when I started scripting this video, I originally wanted to talk about Digimon Adventure 2020, which is kind of hard because not only is there like already 2 other Digimon Adventures, but there's 2 Digimon Adventures that came out in 2020. There's the TV show Digimon Adventure 2020 and the movie Digimon Adventure Last Evolution Kizuna. So I want to talk about that one first. The director of Last Evolution, Tomoyoshi Taguchi, he is also the director of the 2nd and 4th movies of the Persona 3 franchise, and he directed the anime for Persona 4 and Persona 4 Golden. And if that wasn't already enough Persona under your belt, he did a lot of storyboarding for Persona 3 movies 1 and 2 and Persona 5 the animation. Speaking of Persona 5 the animation, if we take a look at the director of that, his name is Masahi Ishihama, and he was a key animator on Our War Game and the original Digimon Adventure OVA. Now, when they were originally released in Japan at film festivals, and so when they were brought over to America, since they were technically short films, they chopped them all together and put them in one thing. The fact that somebody who's working on Persona now has already had their hands inside the Digimon pie, it's a little kind of crazy if you think about it. Like, and not to mention that the director of these 2 original OVAs, Our War Game and Digimon Adventure, well, the director of that is Mamoru Hosoda, who is also the director of Summer Wars and The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. We were definitely going to come back and talk about Summer Wars, so don't you forget that. And I don't know if you know this, but Mamoru Hosoda is kind of a big deal. These are the movies he's directed. I mean, if all of these aren't emotional, tear-jerking, make you cry your heart out, I don't know what will. But Digimon is not the only 90s anime Mamoru Hosoda was a pioneer on. No, he was also the key animator in the first 2 Dragon Ball Z Broly movies. So you've got one established character from Mamoru Hosoda that is proven to work, and you reboot it. And what do you get? Dragon Ball Super Broly. And it was storyboarded by Masato Mitsuka, the director of Digimon Adventure 2020. Okay everyone, listen up, because I'm only gonna say this once and it will be on the test. The Persona animation team shares DNA with Digimon 2020 and the first 2 short films, also known as Digimon the Movie. The first 2 short films of Digimon share DNA with Dragon Ball Z Broly. Dragon Ball Z Broly got a reboot called Dragon Ball Super Broly, and it was really good. It was a really interesting modernization of a 90s character who didn't really have much to him but was still interesting and beloved by fans. And now, the storyboarder for that is doing the same thing, but with characters we actually like. Wow. Now, obviously, I've got a lot to say about this, so I'm for sure going to be releasing more videos in the future. Definitely want to work on some Digimon analysis. We're going to get a review of the first episode up, and we're going to get an OP analysis up, because Mother's Basement isn't doing his job.
I'm coming for you, Jeff.
Right now, though, let's take a look into some of the staff at Digimon Adventure 2020, just so we can see what we're working with. Now, you can't have an anime without a studio. That's like having a cell without a mitochondria. And believe me, there is a powerhouse behind Digimon Adventure 2020. Just this small little studio called Toei Animation. You may remember them from such shows as... What does this establish? Well, Toei Animation is no stranger when it comes to working with classic properties. I'd go so far as to argue that Toei helped make them classics in the first place. Because what's a good manga without an amazing anime? Coming back full circle to Persona, we have the background artist for Persona 3, 1 and 2, and ReZero, Ryoka Kinoshita, as art director. Had to stick that in there just because I saw the connection. And heading up the music is Toshihiko Sahashi, most known for his work composing the Full Metal Panic series. He did some Gundam, Gunslinger Girl, and probably his biggest claim to fame would be composing Hunter x Hunter, the OVA, and the 2011 reboot. That is another successful reboot that has its DNA infused with Digimon. We just brought Hunter x Hunter into this web. And it doesn't end there. The Hunter x Hunter connections don't end there. Daisuke Namikawa is going to be playing Yamato, or Matt, and Megumi Han is going to be playing Takeru, or TK. That means, in essence, Hisoka will be Gon's big brother. Alright, enough with the side characters. Who's the main character? This leading actor is no stranger to leading roles. No, my friend. You may recognize Yuko Senpai as the voice of, that's right, Hidden Leaf Village's own Naruto's grandpa's grandson. And somebody must have been thinking to themselves, we don't have enough big names in here. Let's get the voice of Goku just to be the narrator. And so they did. At the time of recording, this show only has one episode right now, so it's definitely way too early to make any definitive remarks about the quality of the show as a whole. I mean, I'm definitely gonna expect some people to say,
Even if the staff is good, that doesn't mean that the show is gonna be good. I mean, we haven't even seen the story yet. We don't know what they're adapting. Or do we?
So episode 2 is titled War Game. It looks like it's going to be an adaptation of the Our War Game arc. What does this mean? Well, let's go back to Our War Game. That was directed by Mamoru Hosoda. The plot is basically a Digimon virus infects computers, starts causing havoc, and then launches nukes. And if that sounds like the plot to Summer Wars, it is. My man's literally rebooted his own story, and it was great. And hardly anybody knew when it came out that it was just a Digimon reskin. Now the real reason I'm making this is because I want to try to bridge the gap between Persona fans and Digimon fans. Just like how Digimon is bridging the gap from Pokemon to Persona. And we see this with the transformation of the digital world itself and how it's utilized. When Digimon first started, it really made sure to separate the two entities of the real our world that we live and exist in and the digital world where all the Digimon stuff happened. And it was usually, they were split heavily in between the two parts. So one chunk of the story they would stay in the digital world, and one chunk of the story they would stay in the real world. There wasn't a whole bunch of crossing back and forth in between, but there was still some. However, that started to change a bit more frequently towards later on in Digimon Savers, but especially in 2011's Digimon Cross Wars Part 3. The Young Hunters Who Leapt Through Time. And yes, that is a Mamoru Hosoda reference. They just can't get enough of this guy. Now this installment of the Digimon series saw our heroes traveling back and forth between the real world and Mementos, a spooky underbelly of reality where monsters gather to corrupt a person in real life and can only be defeated in battle to turn them back to normal. This bears a striking resemblance to Persona 5, which features the Digicords, where the negative emotions of people attract Digimon that corrupt the host in the real world and are defeated by battle.
And if episode 1 is any indication of what's to come, then it looks like we should get used to seeing more reality hopping in Digimon 2020 between the real world and the digital world.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, Persona users are Digidestined, cognitive world is the digital world, Persona are Digimon. How are these things not exactly the same? I know a lot of people want to claim that, JoJo's and Personas have been the same the whole time, but no. Pokemon and Digimon have been the same the whole time. No. It's been Pokemon, it's been Persona and Digimon this whole time, and none of us knew it. Just replace Protag-kun with... replace Protag-kun and Confidant with Digimon and Confidant, and that would be the storyline that you would go down. And these character arcs, oh my goodness, these character arcs. These are Persona character arcs. Maybe you're the young kid of the group, who's insecure about his age amongst his older friends. Maybe your character arc is tied to the death of a loved one. Maybe your parents do something that make you end up feeling trapped, alone, or afraid. Or maybe you're just lonely. Really, really lonely. You're just a lonely girl who doesn't have a father and feels like they can't trust anyone. You close yourself off from others, not because you don't want to make friends, but because you don't know how. It's that reservedness that makes you come off as strong when really, you're just scared. Scared of making friends. Scared to let somebody get close to you because you don't want to get hurt. Heck, even if you need to get in touch with your feminine side, there's a character in both of these for you. And let's not forget, not only do Digimon evolve, with the Megaform being the crowning pinnacle of friendship power,
but get any confidant to rank 10, and I guarantee you'll see some Digivolution happening.
Look guys, I think at this point it's pretty much confirmed as a fact that a majority of Pokemon fans are not really happy with the franchise. And need I remind you, the drama and problems surrounding Pokemon Sword and Shield's tiredness of format. The Pokemon anime is no better either, offering hundreds of episodes with little to no substance or growth whatsoever. It took Ash 20 years to beat the Pokemon League. That's just one goal. Digidestined saved the world on multiple occasions. And again, let's be honest with ourselves. Besides that one time Ash did that one thing that took 20 years to accomplish, how many people actually really care about the Pokemon anime? Like, that just goes to show how kind of just milquetoast it's gotten.
Don't be shy, come on. We're not actually gonna let Ash evolve as a character, no. Why do our characters need to evolve? That's for Pokemon, silly. Morals? What morals? Pokemon are your friends that you command and don't go through any troubles with and can't communicate with. What? You don't need a Digimon. Not everybody has a computer. Pokemon is supposed to be easy. Pokemon is for kids. There were no kids playing the original or playing Johto or playing Emerald or playing any other games before us. Those are all adults. You guys are fans. This Pokemon's always been easy. You guys are just mean. What a deep and interesting combat system that hasn't changed and has only added additives to it. How unique.
Okay, maybe that went a little too far. You're allowed to like Pokemon. I still like Pokemon. I'm a fan of it in concept. I'm so critical of it because Pokemon gets all of this attention and spotlight and name for it when it hasn't really done anything new. And fans are really starting to pick up on that now, especially with the lackluster amount of content in Sword and Shield and all the monetization. It's like Pokemon is just too big. And here I see this franchise, Digimon, has existed for almost as long as Pokemon, succeeding, failing, trying new things, and it's got a lot of great talent already behind it, and there's so much effort and love and care that they're actually listening to fans and continuing the story and rebooting it and caring about the characters. Lastly, let's talk about Digimon video games. Oh boy, this is the long one. I'll keep it quick, keep it short. People have said that the Cyber Sleuth games are pretty much just Digimon Persona. In fact, all the music in this video are from the Digimon Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory soundtrack. Now, I just want to take a quick second to bring up Digimon Survive, because if Pokemon Sword and Shield seemed lacking in substance, let's take a look at Digimon Survive that's supposed to come out this year. It's already been delayed, which some people would argue a delay is a good sign compared to Sword and Shield. It's going to be split up into 4 main gameplay parts. It's going to have the story parts, which progresses with text and voiceover, kind of like Persona or most visual novels. It's going to have a search section that's similar to Danganronpa and Ace Attorney, where you search the environment and look for objects and items. It's going to have free action and free battle, all on a time system, where it lets you divide up your day through an intensive time management program, kind of like Persona and like Fire Emblem Three Houses. And the combat is on a grid-based system, like Pokemon Conquest, one of the last good Pokemon games, or Fire Emblem Three Houses. Dialogue choices you make will affect the story. It's even gonna have permadeath and multiple endings. How many Pokemon games have permadeath that affects the story? I'm not saying it'll be the best game in the world, but I am saying it is a breath of fresh air compared to the staleness that Pokemon has become. So, I'm not saying Digimon Survive will be the game that kills Pokemon. And I'm not saying that Digimon 2020 will be the savior of anime. Unless, I am saying that Digimon has basically said, friendship over with Pokemon. Persona is my best friend now. I think this is a very powerful series that means a lot to people who grew up watching the show, like me. See, even as a kid, I always kind of knew that Pokemon was a bit more like shallow and empty. Because even though it was fun, like action pieces, the characters didn't really change much. And when the evolution was just randomly tied to, oh, I wonder when they evolve, it built a stark contrast to Digimon, whose evolutions are tied to emotions and friendship and the bond that they actually share between each other. It's the bonds that let them grow. And that's the core of Pokemon and Digimon, is it not? That we grow stronger with our friends, and that our friends will help us out of tough times and help us unpack our trauma. Especially that one really attractive kid with 15 girlfriends. At this point, I'm just becoming a Digimon channel. If I made any mistakes, or if you guys found any more interesting connections in this Persona Pokemon rabbit hole, this Persona Digimon rabbit hole, let me know in the comments down below. And I did know, yes, that there was one guy on the new Digimon 2020 who worked extensively on Pokemon. That was just one guy. So I didn't feel the need to mention that at some point. But man, Digimon, what a wormhole this was. This was so fun to just dive into, and I had no idea. At first I was grasping for straws. I was really just trying to see what I could find, and boy did I find some stuff. So smash golden apple if you want more content. Look, it's subscribe,